Power never announces itself loudly. It does not enter a room laughing. It does not introduce itself confidently. It does not try to impress anyone. Real power sits quietly and lets others feel uncomfortable first. Machiavelli noticed this long before writing The Prince, not in theory, but in rooms filled with powerful men who were supposed to be confident, yet still needed approval from everyone around them. Because most people misunderstand confidence. They think confidence is about being fearless, speaking loudly, walking boldly, showing dominance. But Machiavelli saw something different inside royal courts. The most dangerous men were rarely the loudest. They were the calmest. Because loud confidence tries to convince. Calm confidence does not care. And the moment you stop trying to convince others of your strength, people begin to question their own. That is where intimidation begins. Machiavelli watched rulers who smiled too much lose negotiation leverage. Leaders who explained their decisions too often lose authority. Commanders who needed emotional reassurance from their advisors become predictable. Because needing reassurance is a weakness that can be measured. If someone knows you need approval, they can delay it. If someone knows you need validation, they can withdraw it. If someone knows you fear disapproval, they can threaten it. And suddenly, your confidence becomes negotiable. True confidence cannot be negotiated because it does not depend on reaction. This is why Machiavelli believed that emotional independence is more powerful than military strength in leadership. A man who controls territory may still fear reputation, but a man who controls his reaction fears neither. Confidence that terrifies people does not come from dominance. It comes from emotional unpredictability. Most people react exactly how society trained them to react. Someone criticizes them, they defend. Someone praises them, they smile. Someone ignores them, they try harder. Their behavior becomes a pattern, and patterns are readable. Readable people are manageable. Machiavelli understood that rulers who were emotionally readable were easier to manipulate than rulers who were politically weak but psychologically unreadable. Because once someone understands what makes you react, they understand how to move you. They insult you to provoke anger, praise you to soften resistance, exclude you to create urgency, and your decisions begin to serve your emotions instead of your strategy. Confidence is terrifying when it cannot be influenced emotionally. When insult does not provoke anger, when praise does not provoke comfort, when silence does not provoke insecurity, you become difficult to adjust. And difficult people create hesitation in others. Hesitation is psychological advantage. Machiavelli saw advisors change their tone mid-sentence when speaking to rulers who remained expressionless. Because expressionless faces create informational scarcity. If someone cannot read your approval or disapproval, they must prepare more carefully before speaking. They become slower, more cautious, more strategic. And cautious opponents make fewer bold moves. Confidence that terrifies people often appears quiet because it does not need performance. Performance seeks permission. Confidence without permission appears unnatural, and unnatural behavior triggers attention. Imagine a room full of people laughing politely at a superior's joke. Everyone participates because social safety depends on agreement. But one man does not laugh. Not because he is offended, not because he is rude, but because he does not need to demonstrate belonging. His silence interrupts expectation, and interruption of expectation creates discomfort. Discomfort becomes focus. People notice him, not because he spoke, but because he did not perform. Machiavelli would argue that confidence begins the moment you stop managing perception constantly. Because perception management is exhausting. You monitor your tone, your posture, your words, your reactions. You adjust your behavior to avoid misunderstanding. But adjustment signals concern, and concern signals dependency. Confident individuals do not spend energy avoiding misinterpretation from those who cannot influence consequence. They speak when necessary, remain silent when beneficial, and accept misunderstanding when harmless. Because not all opinions require correction. Correction often invites debate. Debate invites justification. Justification implies doubt, and doubt reduces authority. Machiavelli noticed that rulers who constantly justified their decisions trained their courts to question them more frequently, because explanation becomes expectation, and expectation becomes entitlement. Soon, advisors begin to demand clarity, then demand reassurance, then demand influence. Confidence terrifies people when it does not apologize unnecessarily. Apology is powerful when used strategically, but frequent apology becomes emotional leakage. It signals regret, even when regret is not required, and regret invites renegotiation. Negotiators are taught to listen for hesitation. Words like, maybe, I just thought, I might be wrong, but. These soften statements to reduce conflict, but they also reduce authority. Machiavelli would say that leaders who speak with constant hesitation are not being polite. They are being readable. Readable people can be interrupted, redirected, delayed, because their certainty depends on social acceptance. Confidence becomes intimidating when acceptance becomes optional. You attend the meeting, but do not seek approval. You contribute ideas, but do not defend them emotionally. You disagree, but do not explain excessively. Your presence becomes contribution, not performance. Performance invites evaluation. Contribution invites respect. Machiavelli believed it was better for a ruler to be respected than loved when both were not possible. Because love depends on perception, respect depends on consistency, and consistency requires independence from emotional pressure. If you change your position to maintain affection, affection becomes leverage against you. Confidence becomes terrifying when affection cannot adjust your decisions. People realize quickly when praise stops working, when criticism stops provoking defense, when silence stops creating urgency. They must negotiate with your logic instead of your emotion. Logic is harder to manipulate. Emotion can be rushed. Logic can wait. Waiting itself becomes intimidating. Most people respond immediately to discomfort. Someone questions their competence, they explain instantly. Someone challenges their idea, they defend immediately. Silence becomes uncomfortable, so they speak to escape it. But the one who can tolerate silence controls timing, and timing controls outcome. Machiavelli saw negotiations collapse because rulers committed too early, not because the decision was wrong, but because the commitment arrived before full information. Public hesitation appears weak. Private hesitation appears strategic. Confidence terrifies when delay does not cause panic. When you can hear criticism and respond later, receive pressure and decide tomorrow, be excluded and continue unaffected, your reaction becomes unavailable. And unavailable reactions cannot be used as leverage. Another reason confidence becomes intimidating is that it reduces imitation pressure. In groups, people mirror behavior, tone, risk tolerance, ambition level. If everyone appears cautious, caution becomes safe. If everyone appears agreeable, disagreement becomes dangerous. But someone who does not mirror group tone disrupts social equilibrium. They speak calmly during crisis, remain still during excitement, decline opportunities others rush toward. Their independence becomes noticeable, and noticeable independence creates uncertainty. Uncertainty forces caution. People become less sure how to approach you, less sure how to persuade you, less sure how to predict you. Prediction is the foundation of manipulation. Confidence that cannot be predicted cannot be easily influenced. Machiavelli observed flatterers carefully, not because praise was evil, but because praise encourages conformity. When people agree with you constantly, you begin to fear isolation, and fear of isolation causes self-editing. You soften opinions, delay decisions, avoid conflict, to preserve harmony. But harmony maintained at the cost of truth weakens position. Confidence becomes terrifying when harmony becomes optional. You allow disagreement, even invite it, but you do not require agreement to proceed. Proceeding without consensus signals authority, because consensus-seeking behavior implies negotiation. Negotiation implies dependence. Dependence implies vulnerability. Vulnerability invites pressure. Pressure invites control. Confidence that terrifies people cannot be rushed socially. It cannot be softened by sympathy. It cannot be adjusted through guilt. Machiavelli knew that sympathy is a powerful political tool. If someone can make you feel responsible for their comfort, they can influence your choice. Requests framed emotionally often bypass logic. I just hoped you would understand. I didn't expect you to react this way. I thought you cared about. These are emotional negotiations. And emotionally dependent leaders respond quickly. But confidence that terrifies people evaluates, requests structurally. Does this serve the mission? Does this improve position? Does this reduce risk? Emotion becomes information, not instruction. And people sense the difference. They speak more carefully, prepare more thoroughly, avoid casual pressure, because casual pressure fails. Machiavelli's courts were full of confident performers, men who spoke with passion, made promises dramatically, displayed loyalty publicly. But privately, they were predictable. They needed recognition. So recognition became currency. Confidence that terrifies people does not seek recognition. It focuses on consequence. Outcome replaces applause. Effectiveness replaces popularity. You become quieter, but heavier. Your words carry more influence because they are not frequent. Your silence carries more weight because it is deliberate. And eventually, people begin to feel something they cannot explain. They hesitate before challenging you, rehearse before approaching you, filter their arguments more carefully, because they do not know what reaction they will receive. Uncertainty creates distance. Distance creates respect. Machiavelli would say that confidence is not built by speaking more, but by needing less. Less reassurance, less validation, less agreement, less explanation. The less you require from others emotionally, the more freedom you gain strategically. And freedom is intimidating, because free individuals cannot be pressured with exclusion. They can walk away. And those who can walk away control negotiation. Confidence that terrifies people is not aggressive. It is unavailable. Unavailable to guilt, unavailable to urgency, unavailable to praise, unavailable to panic. And when others realize that their emotional tools no longer move you, they must confront your reasoning instead. Reasoning demands preparation. Preparation slows action. Slower opponents make fewer mistakes. Confidence then becomes protection, not performance, not dominance, but insulation. Machiavelli did not encourage cruelty. He encouraged independence. Independence from emotional negotiation. Independence from approval cycles. Independence from popularity pressure. Because once your decisions stop serving comfort, they begin to serve consequence. And consequence determines survival. This is why the most confident individuals often appear calm in moments that disturb others. Not because they lack fear, but because they process it privately. Private processing allows public stability. Public stability signals control. Control creates caution. Caution reduces aggression. And reduced aggression extends influence. In the end, confidence that terrifies people is rarely dramatic. It does not demand attention. It attracts it by refusing to perform for it. So if you want to become someone whose presence changes a room, stop trying to convince the room first. Begin by becoming someone who does not need it. Confidence begins where approval ends. And intimidation begins where emotional dependence disappears. Confidence becomes truly unsettling when people stop knowing how to move you. In every social setting, there are invisible emotional strings: approval, disapproval, inclusion, exclusion, praise. Criticism. Most people are tied to these, so their behavior can be adjusted. Ignore them, they try harder. Praise them, they soften. Challenge them, they explain. Exclude them, they rush to reconnect. But the moment someone realizes that none of this changes your direction, they lose their tools. Machiavelli understood that influence often begins with emotional access. If someone can make you feel responsible for how they feel, they can shape how you decide. So terrifying confidence is not about becoming cold. It is about separating feeling from decision. You may hear the criticism, but you do not react instantly. You may notice the praise, but you do not rely on it. You may sense the pressure, but you do not obey its timing. You choose when to respond. And choosing your timing means choosing your position. Most mistakes are not made because people are foolish. They are made because people are rushed emotionally. They commit early to avoid tension, agree quickly to avoid conflict, speak instantly to avoid silence. But silence is a weapon, if you can tolerate it. When you pause instead of reacting, when you wait instead of explaining, when you observe instead of defending, people begin to second-guess themselves. Did that offend him? Why didn't she react? Are they confident or planning something? Uncertainty spreads, and uncertainty creates distance. Distance becomes respect. Because people cannot predict your emotional reaction, they must prepare for your logical one. Preparation slows them down, and slower opponents are easier to outmaneuver. In the end, confidence that terrifies people is not loud. It is stable, not dramatic, but consistent. You become someone who does not need agreement to act, does not need praise to continue, does not need urgency to decide, does not need approval to remain steady. And once others understand that their reactions no longer control yours, they stop trying to pressure you emotionally. That is when presence becomes influence. And influence, without emotional dependence, becomes intimidating.